Welcome, Lumineers, back to the 23 Foils channel. I'm your host, John. Here we have another set of set championships for Ursula's Return. Here we have me as Ruby Amethyst against my opponent, who's on Emerald Steel. We've already done our mulligans. I know this matchup like the back of my hand because I have really incredible green steel players at my home store. So I know the only cards I'm going to play are ones that replace themselves with card draw or give me additional card draw. The other things I'm looking for is a Maui to smash an inevitable Robin Hood or Beast. And I'm also looking for Medusas. Otherwise, everything else is ink. Or of course Brawl for Diablo. It's funny because this opponent actually came to my home store where he knocked me out of the top 4 running to actually get that champion mat. So this is kind of a rematch, as it were. Here we can see I keep going along with the strategy. I choose not to play anything out unless it replaces itself. So of course I'm going to ink that Flynn, even though the Flynn could technically generate lore. It's not worth losing a card out of my hand, as well as giving him a target to use Let the Storm Rage on and draw an additional card. He's starting to get his Bucky engine online, so I know there's always a possibility of him shifting into Diablo and his little Diablo, but it's never worth brawling it until you see the upgraded Diablo for sure. So he's doing what he's going to do best, which is try to control the early game because he knows I'm trying to play against the discard game. Except right there, you can see how I held on to the 1-drop and the Fox to be able to take away a card if he's being greedy. So I actually got rid of his Bucky. So I am sitting really strong right now because the likelihood of him having multiple Buckies in hand of not having played them already is very low. So I'm actually sitting really safe, and we'll be able to start investing in my board state and generating cards, especially with that Merlin Rabbit. Really sets me up easily. Yeah, see, I play out the Rabbit and ink the old Chitterbox followers, just keeping that ramp going, playing safe. He's just going to keep on questing while he still can. Unfortunately, we see I already have a Brawl in my hand. Obviously, if I get a Medusa, I'd rather play a Medusa, take out that Flynn, because it's a safer play. And that, Yzma. So I opt for more card draw versus brawling his Flynn. And this is because the more cards I have in hand, the less Flynn can actually do. Right now, I know the only thing he could effectively do is sing Along Came Zeus to kill Yzma, which is fine because I've already used it to net myself 3 cards, 2 for her effect and 1 for removing Rabbit from field. So I'm sitting really strong. We do see that Along Came Zeus come through. And another Ursula. I mean not another Ursula, another Diablos. My apologies. So he sees everything I'm rocking with. I have enough to effectively clear his board with the 2 King Undisputeds in the Brawl. But this is where I opt for my own game plan, which is remove his big questers and put my first big threat down. And now on my next turn, I can go to 8 ink and play double King Undisputed, effectively clearing his board and allowing me just to keep questing. The only problem with green steel in this set is it plays fantastic control and it does a great job of eliminating your hand size most of the time, unlike this match. but it just really doesn't have a way to lure quickly and efficiently aside from Flynn Rider, especially with most decks cutting the Merfolk. So we see me deliberating for a long while. I'm debating about playing the Double King Undisputed just to clear his board. I decide for B prep and to play a Chernobog. And the option just to play a Diablo, even though I have all those B King Undisputed in hand. And it looks like I even just drew a Medusa, but looks like I wanted to go pretty wide. A lot of deliberation from him. Obviously, he knows I'm starting to establish a really strong board control and we'll catch up to him quickly. So he only has a turn or two to attempt to get that remaining 7 lore. Right now, this game is all but lost to him. I have so much control in my hands and have a really established board. There we have him playing out pretty much the only options he has. And I'm generating monstrous hand size value from the castle. And there I'm able to clear his board and just really establish game. Alright guys, so round 2, Green Steel gets depleted on the play now, which is obviously their absolute strongest position. Especially able to make me be very reactive, in the sense that by the time they play Diablo, I still have a whole nother turn before I can ink enough to get a brawl, and etc. Also, it just makes it very hard for me to be able to utilize things like Chernobog, because even right now, this turn, he could choose to shift into Diablo and then sing Let the Storm Rage On and kill my Chernobog, making me lose a card and that eventual card draw and lore that I would have gotten out of it, which is a very, very strong play against Ruby Amethyst. Unfortunately, I have 3 rabbits, which is something you almost never see, especially not in an opening hand. I would love more diversity, especially a brawl or even one of the rabbits being a Medusa, something to work towards. There we see the Shift Diablo. Ultimately deciding to ink the Maui because I do still have a couple inkable cards in hand, and every rabbit does represent me staying in the game, additional turns, also having a body out, being able to prevent his questing. So even though they kind of feel like dead cards right now, ultimately they are better in hand, especially without any signs of a Shift Robin Hood right now. Obviously, if he had it, he would have played the 1-drop, and he's a long way from being at 5. Strong deliberation from me to play Friends on the other side, because I know I need hand advantage no matter what. But obviously, it's a 2-edged sword because I know he's going to be drawing off his Diablo. Here we see the pretty fatal position where he has double Bucky on field and will start targeting my hand hard. I opt to play the Brawl instead of a Rabbit to try to hamper his draw ability, especially before I start playing all these Rabbits. I figure that's a better play line than just trying to generate cards when he's also going to get the advantage. Alright, here we go. First discard 2. I opt to do 1 inkable card and a Rabbit. Kind of hedge my bets if I draw anything uninkable off my other Rabbits. Because obviously my plan is going to be play Rabbit, ink. So here we see I play a Rabbit. Obviously in this next turn I can hope to seeing the King Undisputed, cleanly taking something off his board. Granted it would probably be the 1/3 Ursula, but 1 less body questing is still great, especially because he will not be turning the Bucky sideways, and he doesn't have any procs on the Flynn Rider because I have too many cards in hand until that double discard, unfortunately. I know my best bet is just keep moving forward, keep inking so I can try to get to be prepared. Sadly leaving me with 1 card in hand and inevitably needing to discard it. This is now an incredibly difficult position to climb back from, as I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ink. So I'd have to draw 2 inkables in a row and then be able to play Be Prepared or some other things. So here I decide to attack with my Rabbit to try to get an extra card. 1, because I know he's at lethal and I clear as much as humanly possible, but he still has too much on board and I know I've exhausted my options, so it's a very good match. I know I have 1 more match to be able to win. Alright guys, start of round 3. Ruby Amethyst versus Emerald Steel. I am back on the play. I feel very confident into this matchup, and I personally feel like I have a very, very strong opening hand. With a Brawl, it looks like a Rabbit. The opening Chernobog, which is very important with only 4 1-drops, and we also see the double Friends on the other side. So I just have card draw for days. And then I have an answer for Diablo. He knows about it, so he's probably going to be leery to play that. And then I also have a turn 4 Rabbit, generate a card into the turn 5 Singing King Undisputed. Unfortunately, I do have a pretty high amount of uninkables in hand, so I opt to ink a Friends on the other side in favor of holding on to the Brawl because I know I have to threaten that Diablo shift. But lo and behold, I draw another Friends anyway. And he only has 1 on board, so I know at the start of next turn, if this turn he decides to opt in for the Shift Diablo, I'm still guarded because I know he couldn't really do any other action than that, and that would also in turn enable me to play Be King Undisputed and remove his shifted card. Oh, and here we see he goes for it and opts to sing Sudden Chill, which this is just an all smiles moment for me. I know I've made the correct decision, and he kind of played into my hand with me inking the Brawl, making him feel like it's safe. and I'm allowed to just keep inking and progressing my game plan while he has 0 board state. And frankly, I think he has less cards in hand than I do, especially after that Diablo shift. It is a very expensive move. He does have a Flynn Rider down, which is a pretty strong card. It can quest super hard, but also represents being able to Zeus stuff. But I've already kind of reached critical mass. I feel like in this matchup, as soon as you reach 6 ink, you have a healthy hand and a Medusa, you can start really, really destroying them. Because they'd have to Zeus your Medusa, which takes away a turn from questing. And like I said, I already have such a healthy hand state, so... And here we see the one thing he was hoping I didn't have, which was the second Medusa, and I already had that before even using that Friends on the other side. So really, this game, in my humble opinion, is already decided. He's got a Bucky on board. I'm about to be at 8 ink, which allows me to do double castles, double goats. Really opt for anything, and he barely has 1 card on board, and I have lots of ways to choose to remove it. Here we see I did have a B prep, but at this point I don't really care about losing it. Here we see the first castle coming down. First character moved into castle. And questing out. At this point he's 3 lore behind. I'm threatening 5 lore gain. Here we see a second castle coming down, really putting on the pressure. He can't really afford to swing into it with his characters because the Medusas alone have enough just to take him out. He would need to play another character and have Strength of a Raging Fire to be able to effectively clear out my board, and we see he just does not have it. So with the castles alone, this is already a 2-turn timer because there's no way he can remove every character. I know at this point, all I really need to do is put out pressure. So here we have 2 more upright, very strong bodies that he likely doesn't have a way to answer. So that's 3 different ways for me to close it out. If all the characters survive, they can quest and close it out. If just 2 characters in a castle survive, and he doesn't have enough to hard cast 2 Zeuses. $17, $18, and $19 coming on, and I got pretty eager because I know I had the goat. GG's, and that's how you effectively play against Green Steel.